Hey guys, welcome back to our Take 5 moment. I hope you guys have been enjoying your week with all the sunlight and even that little mild storm that we had earlier this week. Now, we've started a new series called Big Picture, where we're exploring, yes, you guessed it, the big picture. Now, how many have heard the phrase bigger picture? Have you ever thought about what that actually means? Usually, when people say the phrase bigger picture, there's more to the story than we can actually see. And sometimes in our lives, it can be hard to see the bigger picture. An example, take social media. Maybe you follow a celebrity or an influencer or a YouTuber or even just someone really popular at your school. From the pictures that pop up on their feed, you would think that life is absolutely perfect. Their hair always looks amazing, they have a ton of friends, they're making lots of money even, and things couldn't be going better, right? Like, look at this photo for example. It looks perfect. Looks like there's nothing wrong with this photo. Like, OMG. Talk about goals. Well, I think maybe if you saw the bigger picture, if you saw what was really going on behind the scenes in their life, you'd realize just how far from perfect things really are. Take a look. Their life doesn't look so incredible anymore, does it? I mean, look at them. They don't look like that filter on Instagram, or they don't look like that picture perfect life that they want you to think that they have. They show you only one small part of their world, but there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, isn't there? When it comes to so many things in our lives, we have a tendency to focus on only one small part of what's happening. We don't always pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes. We tend to look at just one circumstance or one event or one detail and think about the way it's impacting us right now. But when we do that, we miss out on everything else that's happening around us. There's so much more we may not yet see. We're missing, yes, you guessed it again, we're missing the bigger picture. Now, I think this happens in a lot of areas in our lives, but the one we're going to talk about today is our families. I know all families may be different from each other, but I think no matter what, we can all agree on this. When it comes to our families, we tend to think we're the main character in the story. I'm just kidding. But whether we realize it or not, I think a lot of us expect that. At least in our families, the world should revolve around us. While we might not do it intentionally, our actions say, hey, I'm the one who should get all the attention. I should be the center of the universe. Think about it. We'd rather have someone else get on our schedule of staying up late and sleeping in. We'd love it if family meals could have only the things we like to eat, meaning fewer vegetables and more meat. We don't think twice when asking our parents to spend money on things like Fortnite, shoes, or even concert tickets because those are things we want. Basically, without even realizing it, our actions say to our families that we want them to focus first on how we feel, what we need, and what they can do to make life look like the way we want it to look. These type of tricky family dynamics have been around for as long as, well, there's been families. In fact, some of the craziest stories in the Bible are about this very topic. And trust me, these family stories are a lot crazier than any of us can even imagine. And today, we're going to be looking at one guy in the Bible who found himself in the middle of a pretty crazy family situation. His name was Joseph, and he was actually a really big deal in the Old Testament, a collection of books in the Bible that were written before Jesus even came to earth. And the scripture that we'll be looking at today is found in Genesis 37, verse 3 and 7. And it says this: Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other children because Joseph had been born to him in his old age. So one day, Jacob had a special gift made for Joseph, a beautiful robe. But his brothers hated Joseph because their father loved him more than the rest of them. They couldn't say a kind word to him. One night, Joseph had a dream. And when he told his brothers about it, they hated him even more than ever. "Listen to this dream," he said. "We were out on the field tying up bundles of grain. Suddenly, my bundles stood up, and your bundles gathered around and bowed low before mine." If this sounds a little weird to you, it's because it is. I mean, basically, Joseph had a dream where he and his brothers were working in a field together, and suddenly a bundle of grain that Joseph was tying rose up and stood above the others. And the bundles of grain that his brothers were tying did what in response? They bowed down to Joseph's bundle of grain. It was a symbol implying that one day Joseph's brothers would bow down to him. Now here's the thing. If one of our siblings came to us with a crazy dream, we'd probably just roll our eyes and move on. It's just a dream after all. But in this culture, dreams were much more of a bigger deal. They are actually believed to be predictions of the future. So when Joseph shared his dream about his brothers actually bowing down to him, they believed it was really gonna happen. And as the passage tells us, hearing that made Joseph's brothers hate him all the more. What's worse is in the next few verses, Joseph went on to share another dream he had, this time where the stars and moon and sun bowed down and worshipped him. As you can probably guess, his brothers got even more irritated after hearing about his second dream. But what do dreams and all of this family drama have to do with us? I think we can learn from this story. And what we can learn is when we can't see the bigger picture, we should remember the impact that we have on our families. So what does that actually look like? How do we start seeing the bigger picture when it comes to how our actions impact our families? First of all, we can be aware. I think we have work on developing an accurate view of ourselves. We have to be aware of how our actions impact others. Start by asking yourself, how is the way I'm acting affecting my family? Or what do I need to give up or put aside to serve my family? Even how can I show love to my family? Or what can I do to put my family's needs before my own? And number 2, take a step. Take one step to change that thing in yourself or to be more aware of the way it impacts others. Then choose a different response. Maybe you always speak harshly to your younger sibling, so you need to practice recognizing and correcting that tone. Maybe you leave your clothes or dishes or school stuff around the house for your parents to clean up. So you need to practice better awareness to pick up after yourself. Or maybe you need to control your temper instead of blowing up at your family when you're tired, frustrated, or mad. Whatever it is, pause and think about how you're affecting others. Look at how you're impacting the bigger picture and make a move to change it for the better. And remember this as we leave. Remember that when you can't see the bigger picture, to remember the impact that you're having on your family. And that's our prayer for today, guys, is let's just always remember and keep always constant in our mind. When we can't see the bigger picture, let's remember the impact that we all have on our family. All right, guys, it was amazing to spend this time with you guys. I will see you this weekend. Have fun.